Is the United States truly at a crossroads? If it is, some say we should turn back the clock and look at the principles of one of the most popular leaders of our time, former President Ronald Reagan.
We talk about the new Reagan revolution with the son of the former president, talk show host Michael Reagan. Michael, we talked with your half-brother Ron yesterday about his comments about your father's Alzheimer's disease.
In retrospect, perhaps those things were very early signs of Alzheimer's, but they could have been something else, too.
Now, he seems to be stepping back, or at least qualifying his comments. Do you think your reaction to his remarks may have played a role?
Well, I don't think it's just my comments got to him. I think that all the doctors and all the people that worked with my father who've been interviewed in the last few days that just discounted all of it got him to a point he had to back off and really look at what he said and what he did. And I'm glad he's backing off of them. I think that's important that he do that. I just wish Ron had talked to me. I'm the chairman of the John Douglas French Alzheimer's Foundation, or talk to his mother, or talk to any number of people about that inkling instead of just writing it in a book and having the explosion of media that's come with it.
Well, we're still hearing all this talk about toning down the rhetoric these days, as if politics played a role in the Tucson shooting incident. Yeah. When all the evidence points elsewhere, what's going on with this, Michael?
Well, you know, what's going on with this is politics. It's politics as usual, if you will, that we've got to affix blame somewhere. I remember when my father was shot back in 1981, and I asked Mike Luty, who was the agent in charge of my detail that day, I said, Mike, with all the Secret Service agents, how in the hell does somebody get through and shoot my dad? And he says, Mike, we train 24 hours a day to protect your dad, but we'll never be able to train enough against the crazies.
How would your father react to the politics of today?
You know, he didn't feel that every time somebody pointed a finger at you, you had to step up and answer it. Sometimes not saying anything was a better answer indeed. What's happened, I think, in America, that Washington looks too much like talk radio. I don't want Washington to look like talk radio. I want them to get things done. And Ronald Reagan understood that. So when people were attacking him personally, which happened all of his political career, he sloughed it off, didn't let it bother him. Nancy used to eat bananas because of it. But Ronald Reagan knew that if he stood up and just played the gentleman, found areas of agreement, he can move the ball forward, which he did down the road. That's why he was able to get together with Tip O'Neill, Mikhail Gorbachev, Pope John Paul, all the people he got together with to change the world during his 8 years.
Well, the Republican Party won in a big way in November, but just beneath the surface in the party, there's a real split between the Tea Party advocates and the old line. How serious is this split?
Well, there's always that split. You know, the Reagan Republicans were the grassroots, the Tea Party of the time. You know, he was never supported by the Rockefeller Republican side of the party. Ronald Reagan knew that. He had to build the grassroots in order to get into Washington, and he truly was change in Washington, D.C. But I think the Tea Party, now that they've had this movement and it's worked out for them, you can't get caught up with this, okay, we own it, it's ours, we want it all. Ronald Reagan understood, hey, you don't get it all.
As we look at election 2012, who do you see as being most closely aligned with your father?
To be honest with you, I don't even look at it that way. I'm looking for a leader. I think we make a mistake by trying to find Ronald Reagan in anybody because they're never going to add up.
So who would be your leader?
You know, I got to tell you, we don't have one. We really don't have it. The only person with any ideas is Newt Gingrich. I mean, Newt Gingrich is the only one with any ideas. But, you know, he's got his own problems with 3 marriages. You got Sarah Palin, who polarizes. You got Mitt Romney, who basically only can relate to somebody making $1 million or more. I mean, you've got some real problems out there. I wish I could work with these people because, you know, Ronald Reagan really understood the art of communication, but he understood, too, how to communicate with people. We have too many politicians today to speak in sound bites, and they don't speak in stories and parables like Ronald Reagan.
Thank you, Michael. Talk show host Michael Reagan.